That was Talasia, Aaron, Tyra, and Lene. I apologize, Lene, I left you out of the introductions. Thank you for that beautiful performance. Three great men are here today, in spirit and in this next performance. Mandela, Martin, and President Obama.
I was made by the law a criminal, not because of what I had done, but because of what I stood for, because of what I thought, because of my conscience. If I had my time over, I would do the same again. So would any man who dares to call himself a man. I hate race discrimination, most intensely, and in all its manifestations. I have fought all this during my life. I fight it now, and will do so until the end of my days.
If the United Kingdom and the United States decided tomorrow morning not to buy South African goods and not to buy South African gold, to put an embargo on oil, if our investors and capitalists would withdraw their support for that racial tyranny, then apartheid would be brought to an end. Then the South Africans of all races could at last build the shared society they desired.
Born during World War I, far from the corridors of power, a boy raised, herding cattle, and tutored by the elders of his Timbu tribe, Madiba would emerge as the last great liberator of the 20th century. Like Gandhi, he would lead a resistance movement, a movement that at its start held little prospect of success. Like King, he would give potent voice to the claims of the oppressed and the moral necessity of racial justice. He would endure brutal imprisonment that began in the time of Kennedy and Khrushchev and reached the final days of the Cold War.
During my lifetime, I have dedicated myself to the struggle of the African people. I have fought against white domination, and I have fought against black domination. I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all people live together in harmony with equal opportunity. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to see realized. But if needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die.
Nelson Mandela is among hundreds wasting away in Robben Island prison against the massively armed and ruthless state, which uses torture and sadistic forms of interrogation to crush human beings, even driving some to suicide. The militant opposition inside South Africa seem for the moment to be silenced. The mass of the people seems to be contained, seems for the moment unable to break from oppression. I emphasize the word seems because we can imagine what emotions and plans must be seething below the calm surface of that prosperous police state. We know what emotions are seething in the rest of Africa.
But in America, in South Africa, and countries around the globe, we cannot allow our progress to cloud the fact that our work is not done. The struggles that follow the victory of formal equality and universal franchise may not be as filled with the moral clarity and drama as those that came before, but they are no less important. For around the world today, we still see children suffering from hunger and disease, run-down schools, and few prospects for the future. Around the world today, men and women are still in prison for their political beliefs and are still persecuted for what they look like, or how they worship, or who they love.
Only free men can negotiate. Prisoners cannot enter into contracts. Your freedom and mine cannot be separated. I greet you all in the name of peace, democracy, and freedom for all. I stand before you, not as a prophet, but as a humble servant of you, the people. Your tireless and heroic sacrifices have made it possible for me to be here today. I therefore place the remaining years of my life in your hands.
Clearly there is much in Mississippi and Alabama to remind South Africans of their own country. Yet even in Mississippi, we can organize to register Negro voters. We can speak to the press. We can, in short, organize the people in nonviolent action. But in South Africa, even the mildest form of nonviolent resistance meets with years of imprisonment. And leaders over many years have been restricted and silenced and imprisoned. We can understand how in that situation, people felt so desperate that they turned to other methods, such as sabotage.
Emerging from prison, without force of arms, he would, like Lincoln, hold his country together when it threatened to break apart. Like America's founding fathers, he would erect a constitutional order to preserve freedom for future generations. An order ratified to rule of law, not only by his willing to step down from power, but by his election.
The value of our shared rewards will and must be measured by the joyful peace which will triumph. Because the common humanity that bonds both black and white into one human race will have said to each of us that we shall all live like the children of paradise. Thus shall we live because we will have created a society that recognizes that all people are born equal, with each entitled in equal opportunity to life, liberty, prosperity, human rights, and good governance. Such a society should never allow again that there should be prisoners of conscience, nor that any person's human rights should be violated.
It is in this situation, with the great mass of South Africans denied their dignity, denied opportunity, denied all human rights. It is in this situation, with the bravest and best South Africans serving long years in prison, with some already executed. In this situation, we in America and Britain have a unique responsibility. For it is we, through our investments, through our government's failure to act decisively, who are guilty of bolstering up the South African tyranny. Our responsibility presents us with a unique opportunity, for we can join in the one form of nonviolent action that can bring freedom and justice to South Africa. The action which African leaders have appealed for in a massive movement for economic sanctions.
Finally, Mandela understood the ties that bind the human spirit. There's a word in South Africa, Ubuntu, that describes his greatest gift, his recognition that we are all bound together in ways that can be invisible to the eye, that there is a oneness to humanity, that we can achieve ourselves by sharing ourselves with others and caring for those around us. We can never know how much of this was innate in him or how much was burnished and shaped in a dark, solitary cell.
I really wanted to retire and rest and spend more time with my children, my grandchildren, and of course with my wife. But the problems are such that for anybody with a conscience who may use whatever influence he may have to try to bring about peace, it's difficult to say no.
I won a Nobel Peace Prize in 1964.
I won a Nobel Peace Prize in 1993.
I won a Nobel Peace Prize in 2009.